Okay. Hi, and welcome to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I am very excited for this, because this is starting to get into the Ace Attorney stuff that I have not played. I have played the first... more of this absolute nonsense. I have played up through the... I think third case in Adventures. And that is as far as I've made it in this game. I haven't touched Great Ace Attorney 2 at all.
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide. But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Gosh, I love this game's aesthetic so much. Also, I'm gonna drop... There we go. Still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? Give me a sec. I need to learn to stop eating dry food before I'm gonna be doing a bunch of voicing. What? Oh, no, nothing. Save your glares, murderer. Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. It's enough. There he is! Oh. This is one thing that's fantastic about the newer Ace Attorney games. There is a text log. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. Who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you. You haven't even graduated yet. And yet, I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, No, I suppose that wasn't my fault. Yeah. This is... These two games are technically the most recent Ace Attorney games. Actually, I don't even know if that technically is true, because I think they might have come out after the, after Ace Attorney 5 and 6 originally did, and then the remake is the most recent. Which is when it actually got localized. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. I must say, I've been all over the newspapers these past few days. I'm a university professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. And none of these peeps are our boy Phoenix. Ryunosuke is Phoenix's ancestor. I could never murder someone. And there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend, also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I. Star student, in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive considering, considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old, here in Japan anyway. I really need to learn to stop eating dry food before stream. How many years of me streaming will it take for me to actually learn that lesson? My qualifications don't mean much yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma. It looks like you're gonna get study abroad at last. I know. I've been forever dreaming for this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and success in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you, and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. Yeah, it's what causes his headband to flap. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. Bandana Man is Kazuma. Ryunosuke is our playable character. Heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. And come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class then tomorrow. Or tomorrow then, partner. Don't mind me, I'm just choking. I'm gonna need to start getting more water for these. It was straight after that. That's when it happened. Asogi, may I have a word? Oh wait, which one? Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi, you should go immediately to the judge's chambers. Gosh. Sorry for all the coughing and clearing my throat. Vocal exercises don't seem to mean a lot when you eat a ton of dry food and dry out your throat immediately before. You should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers. Why? He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at once then.
I shall accompany you.
Alright then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. This is awkward. If I may. Yes, sorry? You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Ah, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. So this is our flashback PC is on trial case. This isn't even a flashback case. This is just happening. Sogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Sogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked. Never granted again. Also, I'm gonna leave that on low. We are not turning on story mode. I was just trying to see if there was a text scroll speed option, but there isn't. What? As I expected. You were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it, I swear it. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand, once proceedings get underway. But then what should I do? Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? Am I getting married to Kazuma? Well, what will the question be? Surely not. Do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course not. Defendant. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. It would seem our... Oh, surreptitious? I think that's how that's pronounced. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to surmise. Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway. This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. I guess this is a flashback case, I guess. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny. This is a courtroom. Rendered in glorious 3D. Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that be have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? Trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now... You need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. Court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency.
As is the defense. Before we begin, there's one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's correct, Your Excellency. Gosh. Seven out of 10, the judge's beard isn't fantastic enough. The judge's beard, once we actually get to Britain, is better, though. That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedures for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I'm obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do... I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate. What is the meaning of this an unruly outburst? I'd like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. It'll be... What? What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything, just now before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. Means you don't have faith in me. Think I won't be able to get you off. This is a good screenshot out of context. No, it's not that, really. It's just that, well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear for to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotoba really shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial.
Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Objection!
That was really loud. Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Hmm? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still. Try not to look so bewildered.
Heh. Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed.
As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature in Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo?
Yes, Your Excellency.
It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken.
My competence? What does that mean?
He's questioning your ability to do the job.
Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am.
So, let's start with the very simplest of questions.
Oh, yes.
The implication of that comment from the prosecutor is that he doesn't actually know anything about the trial or the case. I mean, he's the he's the ancestor of Winston Payne, so kindly state to the court, the name of the victim in this case.
Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I'd care to remember. But wait. So nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again?
Ryunosuke. Let me guess. Your mind's gone blank.
You know me so well.
All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record.
But I can't even find that.
It's simple. You can access the court record with the press of R. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there.
Just have to press R for the court record? Alright, there's no time to lose.
It's the list of evidence you've collected. Try switching to people instead, with R. Yep, cool. Find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press B to go back. Remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Taketsuchi Ouchi, lead prosecutor of this case, who would appear to have little love for the changes of the Cultural Reformation has brought about. You better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the People's section of the court record, and press X to present. Try it now.
Yes!
The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson.
Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university.
Ouchie in pain. Yeah, it's even better when it's a minor spoiler for the sequel trilogy of games. It's not Winston Payne in that, it's his twin brother Gaspin Payne. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yume University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together, after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty, this is the wrong voice. Can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor?
But I didn't do it. Also, is text skip? This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. You're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities. Is it? Or is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class then. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. Wow, why is Kazuma's voice so difficult? British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Then, let me pose my next question for you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. Cause of death? Well, obviously that was, Ryunosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death. Select present. Do it now.
Yes!
Well... According to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma.
Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it.
Sorry, yes, that's right. The, post-mortem report. In the West, the doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later.
This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range.
Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. Also, can I just say, I love the music in this game. This game's soundtrack is so good. We haven't gotten to any cross-examining yet, but the cross-examination theme in this game is top-notch. So that's a photographic print. That's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. Detail is incredible. Very well. I'm satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial.
Let me T-pose right in front of you. I'm establishing dominance, don't you know? Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better appraise the court with the facts of this case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was here at the scene of the crime when it happened.
This is it, then. Huh. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes. Clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah! Of course. And when he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. I can see it. I can see it. It's the completely white glasses. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first.
Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please.
And the balding, yeah. Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I'm the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called Le Carnival. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, Pardon me, it's just Kool-Aid. It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should.
As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some time ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants. An
Occidental
eatery 3 days ago.
Understood. Osanaga-san, kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. Oh wait, that's not your voice.
And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please.
Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have a few dinners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits with my memory of it too. There's hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes!
Hold on, let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection! I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur.
But... Next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized. Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must quietly listen to the witness.
If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today.
Yes, without question.
I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim?
No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table. What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, your parents tell you to study. You're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I'd never have gotten into Yume University otherwise. You can't just always follow the rules in life, you know? If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright, you've scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just gonna shut my eyes and say it.
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Objection! Dear me, dear me. What are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all?
But I'm sure of what I saw. Osanaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it were that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Ah, a sketch of the establishment's layout, drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. I can't see anything on this because you didn't mark people's positions, buddy. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. Osanaga's voice is probably going to be a bit weird. The court will take this plan and add it to the court evidence, or to the court record as evidence. No, well, is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. Fun fact, if you stick on this text box, he sits here coughing forever. Waiter's business card has been entered into the court record. Cool.
So, the court has now heard the precis of the case.
Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem that we're looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency? You admit your guilt at this stage. The court is willing to look mercifully upon you.
In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime.
What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm gonna be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikotoba said it, and so is the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face. Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. That's a good point, actually, Squiggles. If he's an unsworn witness, that means that his testimony is non-admissible. And we'll just see how decisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Ouchi, please continue with proceedings.
Tisk. Yeah. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. I can be your angel, or I could be your devil. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witness.
Very well. Officer, bring forth a witness at once.
Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court.
Yes, sir. Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant, East Yasunosa, reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District. Curio correcta at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier. What an unusual pairing.
Both these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question.
It must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned.
Myself,
I habitually take tea at of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon. Not infrequently converse with the interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business. Can't understand a word of what that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer. It sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques, tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with a rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer.
now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct?
Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So, this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You'll state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. Unsavory memories of a most, wow. How did I do this guy's voice? Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. I'm gonna have to find his voice again. I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. A black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir, affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. I brought this knife to court. I'm going to stab the man that's next to me. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up... Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witness. Cross-examine? Do it now.
As we have heard, Your Excellency, there's no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It's time to bring this despicable student to justice.
Certainly. The testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it's my grave duty to... What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? I mean, the defense demands its right to a cross-examination.
Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic.
Huh? How did he know?
The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. I want to kiss him. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witness. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witness's statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. Also, there is a very solid chance that this case will take, like, actual multiple episodes, because this case is long. This case is the length of, like, a normal, like, third or fourth case. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Also, you see those little diamonds above the right side of the text box? This is such a nice feature that got added in Apollo Justice. It keeps track of which statement you're on, and it's amazing. I love it. Thank you, Capcom. I already read this. Let's press this. Why aren't you saying anything? Is this some kind of new interrogation technique? I hadn't actually thought of what I wanted to ask. Just ask about anything that catches your attention. Anything that bothers you. Alright then, this beefsteak you mentioned, what kind of food is that? Tension? Ugh. Beefsteak is a delicious cut of veal, vigorously cooked on a cast iron grill and served piping hot. Oh. Food could receive medals of honor. Beef steak would be almost as highly decorated as a cutlet. Right, I see. Hey, white tiny fins. Welcome in. I think that this is the first time I'm seeing your username. Right, I see. Thank you, sir. So, next question. This cutlet you mentioned, what kind of food is that? Danchun! Ugh. Cutlet is a delicious cut of veal tossed in breadcrumbs and deep fried in cooking oil. Accept your guilty verdict, atone for your crimes, and when you're released from prison, try it. Yes, sir. I will, sir. On the double, sir. Sorry to interrupt, but how about trying to stick to questions that are relevant to the case? Oops, sorry. I'll do my best. So, next question. Is it just me, or do you keep hearing a sort of wah crying noise? Negative. Well, at least we've learned that he's a big beef lover. Sorry, I wanted to raise the volume a little bit because it seems really low on the readout. Well, at least we've learned that he's a big beef lover. Affirmative. It's not easy knowing what questions to ask. Also, I love that this game has like an achievement system. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman.
Yes!
I have no idea what you're talking about. A koban, boy. A koban? You mean an old Edo coin? The day prior to the incident, a treasure of exceptional value from the Hoei period entered my possession. I took myself to the restaurant the following day, with said item secreted in my bosom pocket, in the hope of an affluent... What is that word? Cognizant? Cognizant? That's not how you spell cognizant, but... appraised of its indisputable value being present. So, you were hoping to sell your koban coin to Sergeant Nosa, whom you'd met at the restaurant.
Yes, yes. It's quite clear where you're going with this, boy. You were about to assert that a penniless soldier would have no hope of purchasing a precious koban. Isn't that so?
Well... You little upstart cadet. Want to add disrespecting a superior officer to your list of crimes, do you? Blatant subordination. No, I didn't say anything. Although penniless might just be the word I was looking for. In any case, the hour was already advanced beyond that of the midday luncheon. There remained precious few present with whom I could engage in discourse about matters of business. The gentleman beside me, who was grappling with his braised veal at the time, was my sole prospect. I'm slipping into judge voice. I see. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes.
Yes!
So, you're saying that you actually saw me at that time? Affirmative. I saw you. Laughing, cackling, like a madman as you like a madman. There needs to be a comma there. Or a period. Laughing, cackling, like a madman as you trained the barrel of your gun on an English civilian. I love the little slap. There's no, like, slam. But that's impossible. I only... Allow me to confirm just one point, please. What's that, Private? Thinking carefully about the statement you just made, it seems to me that it must have been just after you heard the gunshot that you looked over to the victim's table. And so, what if it is? Well, if that really is the case, it'd mean that you didn't in fact see the precise moment when the killer actually fired the gun. And double R. A sixth sense. Sorry? A sixth sense of danger. Picked up the waves of murderous energy radiating from your foul mind. Which means, split second before you pulled the trigger, I was looking right at you, cadet. Surely that's not really possible, is it? Do you think I'd gotten where I am today in the army if I couldn't sense any danger in the air, son? Well, it would seem the soldier is absolutely convinced that he saw you do the deed. This is not good. Black uniform varsity cadet fired on the English civilian. From the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Yes!
So this black uniformed university cadet, you're saying that was... I've had just about enough of your sauce, cadet. Who else do you see around here in a black uniform, huh? Oh, there's someone standing right next to me who fits the description as well, but... It was you, you little weasel. You unloaded the firearm on that man. From behind his back. You call yourself a citizen of the great empire of Nippon. You disgust me. What is it, Ryunosuke? I'm not quite sure. It's something that the sergeant just said. I can't put my finger on it. Something's playing on my mind. In that case, check back over the details of the evidence you've gathered in the court record. If you find an inconsistency there with what the witness just said, then don't hold back. Present the evidence to the court, thrust it in the witness's face, and make him choke on it. Also, I like how he pushed the, Thank you for the hydrate, Squiggles. For some reason, it's specifically Kazuma's voice that's giving me trouble. Also, I like that he, like, pushed the sword a little bit out of its scabbard. You can see it underneath the text box there. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio.
Yes!
On your hands and knees. Could you explain that, please? Screenshots out of context. That's right. Spurning the arthritis I was, in order to retrieve the lost piece. There we go. What lost piece are you referring to? The Koban, of course. Exquisite Hoei era Koban coin. I had just been showing that rare treasure to the military man as he masticated his meal. Masticated means, like, ripped to shreds, right? It means, like, absolutely demolished. Like, I'm not mistaking that definition. After averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished.
The Koban vanished.
Hence I began to acquaint myself with the intricacies of the floor, in order to locate it. And then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? You think masticated just means chew? None other than, though it was of no concern of mine, I was frantically scouring the floor for the aforementioned lost treasure. So, in fact, you didn't actually witness the precise moment when the incident occurred. macerate? Macerate? Macerate?
Indeed, myself I did not.
I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. Listen, Ryunosuke. You know, there are lies lurking in these statements. It's time to expose them. Why was them bold white? I'm not going crazy. That lie, or that last, the only difference is because the only reason you know the difference is because of modded Minecraft. I understand that. The question is how. Like I said before, the key to this is using evidence that you've collected. You can examine and present evidence while a witness is giving testimony by pressing R. Go through each witness statement and find the details about each piece of evidence. Yep, cool. Somewhere in there you'll find something that doesn't add up. In other words, an inconsistency. Inconsistency? Gosh, why does Kazuma's voice dry out my throat something fierce? I'm gonna need to go and get more water soon. Find a statement. When you find a statement and a piece of evidence that seem to contradict each other, present your evidence with X and rip the witness apart. Just be careful, because if you assert a contradiction that has no basis, you'll be given a penalty. If you dealt too many penalties, the defense's case will fall apart and you'll receive a guilty verdict. Yep, this is all tutorial. Alright, I'll give it a try. Yep, cool. So keep your head and be measured in your attack. Good luck, partner.
Yes!
What? What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of the subordination? Thrusting this wad of papers in my mustache? Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here.
What nonsense. What can this document possibly tell us we don't already know?
Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth.
Huh. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there's no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
Ugh. So frustrating. Oh, please. Really, this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what?
What are you talking about?
It's apparent from a single glance at the post-mortem report presented by the defense. There's a clear discrepancy here with the surgeon's statement. Sergeant.
What?
Sergeant Yasunosa. Yes, sir? What, sir? The statement you just made was this. Black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian. And from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Oh, stream. Yes, sir, affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because Because, as is clearly stated in the post-mortem report, fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit wound, a bullet did not pass through the body. Photographic print of the victim clearly shows the same thing. Victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ah! Surgeon, according to your witness statement, culprit shot the victim from behind. That's the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What the? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. I'd agree, Sergeant Nosa. Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious luck heart of all steak, sir.
What?
Last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Surgeon Yesa Nosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all.
That's absurd.
Yeah, we are dropping frames. I don't know what's happening. Oh, whoa, I don't know why I'm dropping frames.
Ugh, that's absurd.
I think it should pick back up in a bit. I think someone else is probably using the internet right now. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There's no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. He said it. Roll credits. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there. He was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes.
But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, didn't see the moment the victim was shot either. Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Oh yes, you were looking for your Koban coin, weren't you? Indeed. Priced Howeer a Koban. Frames are not picking back up. don't really know what I can do without, like, resetting all of my internet stuff. I'll peek around under the table. I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. Or the gunshot, you mean? Indeed, I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoey treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, precious Hoey Koban was lost to me. No doubt, some unscrupulous young scoundrel pocketed the prized coin for himself. As I'm sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness's testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What's your position, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make.
Explain.
Upon hearing their statements, it will become abundantly clear that there's only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What? Really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Also, what is it about, there's something about this look that's very sassy, and I love it. Hey, White Tiny Fins, how are you doing?